All right, here's a topic to go along with the whole gardening thing, but basically, what do you grow pre-SHTF and what do you grow post-SHTF? So, from a pre-standpoint, one of the philosophies that I use is I try to grow the things that are more expensive that we eat. And so I want to replace the cost that we are spending in the grocery store and holding that money back to then be able to use for other preps, backups, you name it. So, you know, I look to what are the more expensive things. I also look to, like, you know, stuff we kind of enjoy too, but so like alluded to in a previous video about potatoes, a homegrown potato is amazing. They are delicious. Actually, I have a county history book from probably 30 or 40 years ago, and it talks about some of the relatives of mine who went and fought in the war in Prussia, and when they came back, they brought back some of the first potatoes to Småland, Sweden. And there's a comment in there that just, I never understood it, but it said they used to boil them and spread them on bread like butter. And I'm like, spreading a potato on bread like butter, that doesn't make any sense. Till about 5 years ago, I grew our first potatoes, and they were so creamy, like it wasn't anything like what's in the store. So, but I would consider that more of a luxury because potatoes are really, really cheap. And so to take up square footage in your garden for potatoes doesn't make a lot of sense to me. And so that's kind of where my mind's at, is where can I maximize my dollar to save money, to reinvest, recapitalize into other things, dry goods, whatever else, to continue adding to our preps. So I think in a pre-SHTF, that's where your mindset's got to be. But I think you also need to practice kind of growing those things that are not economical. So, you know, I use grow bags to grow potatoes in, and it serves two purposes. We get great potatoes out of it, but then I can take that garden soil mix that I put together and put them in, and I can dump that in my beds, and almost like I'm throwing compost into the beds. Now, post SHTF, I think your garden or whatever you grow are going to have to be heavily protein. So it's gonna have to be a lot of bean or legume type stuff. And that's gonna take up the majority of your square footage. You know, and it takes up a lot of space. So, I mean, I've got a lot of space to grow in. You're gonna see it. If you look at previous videos, you'll see it. If you look at some of the old Bear Independent stuff, you know, you'll see a garden tour in there of my stuff, you know. But the focus then shifts to, you know, like beans, which are very cheap right now. But protein is going to be scarce. Like, everybody's not going to go hunt. Everybody's not going to go get a deer and bring it in and smoke it and preserve it and do all the things, the charcuterie and everything else they need so they have meat for months. It's not going to happen. You know, animals have great senses, and they're going to be out of here just as fast as anybody else, or faster. They'll sense it, you know. But so, you know, most of your stuff, a lot of your stuff is going to have to be heavy protein, because protein is going to be the thing that is going to be lacking. So I think that's the major difference between the two. The good thing, beans are really easy to grow. You don't have to do a whole lot. You know, if you plant plenty of them, you let them grow, you let them dry on the vine, you let them get brittle, you pull the pods, you break them apart, and you have dried beans. You know, or some varieties you can eat fresh, whatever, you know, whatever you decide to do. So I know that's kind of where I think that the difference between pre and post is going to really really end on. So I don't know, my thoughts. Interested to hear yours.